So today, all eyes were on Nintendo and the Mario Kart World presentation. It's been an interesting unveiling for Mario Kart World. Obviously, a lot of this tied to the $80 price point of the game. Yes, a standard edition game for $80. Now, it is cheaper if you buy it with the system bundle, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the fact that this is an $80 game. This is Nintendo. It's not like games go on sale very often. So in order to convince people that this game is indeed worth $80, we had this Nintendo Direct presentation for Mario Kart World. And did this presentation change people's minds and now everyone's on board with the $80? I woke up early to cover this. I have a doctor's appointment, so kind of two birds with one stone, but I have a little time to talk about this. I watched the presentation, roughly 15 minutes long, more kind of towards 16 minutes long, and I have to say, I just have to be honest, I'm not quite sure I understand the point of this presentation. This was a presentation in which they expanded upon a lot of the things that I feel like we kind of already knew with this game, but they still kind of teased things and didn't fully explain every little sort of interesting caveat that the game has, which when you're talking about a game that has so much attached to it with this $80 price point, I would feel like you would want to talk about everything. Now, it was very basic kind of in its structure, how they, showcase different elements of the game. It's like, well, here's the racing, here's some characters, here's some power-ups and stuff. They showed like new power-ups, new courses, and how they can be all interconnected and stuff like that. Like, I think all of that stuff is very cool. It's a nice advancement of the franchise. You would expect there to be some new things added into the game, considering that we haven't had a new Mario Kart game in 11 years now with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So you kind of got to freshen things up a bit. I do like the layouts of the new courses and how they are interconnected and stuff like that. Like, I think that's super cool. I think that makes things interesting. Of course, all of the new stuff you could do, they showed off like rail grinding, wall rides, how you can, go through water and stuff like that. It's stuff that other kart racers have done, but Mario Kart has not done it, so that does make it a bit interesting. They did show off some of the new characters and stuff like that, like a cow. I know some people have always wanted to be a cow, and now you can live out your cow fantasies. Some of the new power-ups include things like being able to drop down coins so that you could build up your speed, but other people can use your coins. There is an ice ball that you can do to kind of mess people up. Like, it's all cool. It's all very interesting looking, and I think it will help expand the game. They also showed off the stuff you could do besides like the main races, such as the free roam and the battle modes. I think the battle modes are going to be pretty fun. You could team up and like do teams of people with races or in battle mode as well, which I think is nice. It gives like a cumulative score of how everyone has done, and whichever team does better, they're the winner, I guess, would be the case. The free roam, they showed off kind of like what these P blocks are, not urine, the blue P blocks, and what you could basically do in free roam. There's little missions that you can do by gathering or by hitting these blocks, and like, oh, you got to get these blue coins. Like, I think everything looks very nice. They showed off online stuff as well. Like, there's lots of cool stuff happening with this game, but I get that sense, I get that feeling that this is something I've talked about recently, that I don't know that it convinced anyone that was like $80 is too much, that this game is now going to be worth $80. And I think that kind of boils down to a couple like main points that I kind of noticed while watching this presentation. I think one of the main things was with this free roam ability, there was the hope that there would be some sort of like story related thing. Like think of something like Diddy Kong Racing. You know, it wasn't like a deep narrative or anything like that, but you had this open area that you could explore, and they incorporated something that made the single player feel very unique and interesting. And it really doesn't seem like there is any sort of thing like that. Like, yes, you can go anywhere and do anything within the free roam, but aside from, you know, basically doing the little P block missions to get all the blue coins, you can also like find different costumes that you can use, which will probably be pretty fun. It doesn't seem like there's really a driving force to do and access the free roam sort of thing. I feel like a story mode that interconnected with the free roam would have made things very interesting and maybe spice things up a little bit. And I think another thing is, you know, people were hopeful that with this $80 price point, because more than likely there's going to be subsequent DLC for this game. I mean, think of how successful the DLC was for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know, they released so many waves of it. There were so many characters, so many additions added into it. I think one of the things that people were hopeful for was that, you know, that was going to be at least mentioned, and, you know, the DLC would be potentially included in that $80 base price, but there was nothing of the sort with that sort of thing. And watching this presentation, I kind of just feel like, yes, we did learn new things about Mario Kart World, but I feel like they are things that we kind of already could gather from the initial Mario Kart World presentation during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Like, honestly, there wasn't like some big surprise that Nintendo was holding back with this. And a lot of people were thinking that was the case. I know people made like prediction videos on what was going to be in this presentation and stuff like that, like expecting these lofty things. And I think that is attached to the fact that you decided to do a full-on direct presentation for this game because you gave the feeling that you had additional things to show off, and B, because of that $80 price point. Like, was there going to be a little bit of extra sizzle in this game? Some things that maybe nobody expected, and it's kind of like, well, no, we just learned about more things that we already kind of knew about. I guess really the big new thing is that, like, there's like a kids mode, and like you can make it so you don't fall off the course, and you use like auto items and stuff like that. Motion controls also, you can do the single Joy-Con and be like you're a racer. They are doing a Joy-Con 2 steering wheel as well with that. There's a rewind feature that's very interesting, because the rewind feature doesn't rewind the entire race. It just rewinds you. So, like, say you're in first place or something, and somebody hits you with a blue shell, and you're like, I don't want that. If you hit rewind, like, the game still goes on. You just rewind. So it's kind of like, what's the point of that? Like, it's not going to make the race any better for you. It's just going to rewind what just happened, but only for you. I still think the game looks like a lot of fun. I'm still looking forward to playing the game. You know, being able to play a new Mario Kart is always a fun experience. I think graphically the game looks very nice. There's a lot of attention to detail and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll be a very fun Mario Kart game, and I do like some of the advancements that they have done. My main point with this video is I don't think you convinced someone who said that $80 was too expensive that now $80 is justified with this presentation. I'm not quite sure why you still tried to like tease little things instead of just, you know, coming out with this. Nintendo understands that there is an aura around this game now because of the price point of it. And when you're just kind of like, oh, well, you know, business as usual with it, like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like watching this presentation made me any like wiser towards the game. Like, basic elements of it and stuff were kind of explained, and like, I guess that's cool, but overall, like, this felt a little unnecessary, honestly. I don't think you're going to convince anyone that now this game is worth $80 with this presentation who didn't believe in it. But, I mean, it's still going to sell anyway, so what does it matter? Get ready for $90 games from Nintendo this generation. Luigi's Mansion 4, $90 edition. And he goes on a free roam mode. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section down below if you watched this. And if you did, what you thought about it. Did it convince you? Are you now an $80 boy or girl or they, them, person, whatever you want to be, man? I don't care. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.